Welcome to Perspectives Eye. If you're involved in or seeking to understand the gold mining industry, from small-scale operations to multinational corporations, this video is a must-watch. Discover the hidden dangers that lurk beneath the surface of this lucrative business. Today we will be sharing with you money laundering prevention in the gold mining sector. This video is divided in 4 parts: the process, the players, the elements, and the analysis. To better understand the business of a gold mine development project, we must first understand the phases or stages within that specific project. So we have a prospect, exploration, development, exploitation, and closing phase. The prospect phase usually involves the seeking of a mine. So when we're conducting due diligence, we want to make sure that we are looking at the following risk factors and corroborating them in order to lower that risk. We want to understand who is the owner of the land, who owns the mining title, are there concession contracts, and who owns the mine. Here we will be looking at the investors, partners, and speculators. During the exploration phase, we're looking at the following risk factors, and in order to decrease that risk, we want to obtain copies of the most recent samples, in this case, gold. We want to obtain a feasibility study and business plan. We want to obtain copies of receipts for the purchase or the rental of machinery, and we want to obtain copies of salaries paid. Here we will highlight the importance of corroborating, verifying, and asking and confirming what is the development plan, such as the mining method. This means that is the gold going to be extracted externally out in the air, or will it be underground through channels of tunnels and other methods where underground exploitation or exploration inclusive will take place. Transportation and costs such as labor, materials, investments, royalties, insurance, taxes, etc. During the development plan, we're looking at the following risk factors, and we have to confirm the following: in whose name or names is or are the permit or permits? Who is going to build the facilities, and is there a contract in place establishing those that are responsible for that particular role? And who is carrying out the excavations, and is there a contract to confirm that as well? And here we are looking at the investors and the partners alike. During the exploitation phase, which is the production phase, we want to look at the following risk factors. And we want to decrease those risk factors by obtaining the purchase or rental of equipment, transportation services of the product, meaning the gold transportation. And this is important to ask and verify if the mine happens to be along a main road, or if it happens to be isolated from a main road, and therefore what kind of transportation services will be additionally required in order for that to take place. Transportation service inputs, such as anything that has to do with materials, building materials, any sort of transportation that will contribute to the infrastructure of campsites, and any excavation and exploitation requirements, whether it's outside or underground as well. And this includes food service as well and human labor. Additionally, we want to understand the team that is working within this gold mining development. Why? Whether it's an administrative team or an engineering team or a supporting team of sorts. Again, different mines have different teams. It is important to understand who will be accountable and who will be reporting and supervise the explosives management permits, earth and rock management, air and water pipeline maintenance, and waste storage environments in order to be compliant with the mining code of that specific jurisdiction. Then we have the closing phase of the mine. And this is the most crucial perhaps, for us to enhance our due diligence. The risk factor of not properly closing a mine, meaning not formally reporting to a Ministry of Mines or to the authorities that supervise that mining industry in that specific jurisdiction, is that if there's not a formal, proper legal closing, the risk factor is that the mine could fall under the status of an abandoned mine. And the vulnerability of this specific mine is that in future scenarios, a criminal organization could potentially exploit this abandoned mine status, and they may bring in gold from another region or another country and entitle that gold to this closed mine, when in the beginning that gold doesn't even belong to that mine. So we have to be very careful about understanding this reality, but also ask and confirm that these formalities are in place and are therefore compliant. Who are the players? In this industry, we're looking at searchers, local merchants, small refineries, regional merchants, big refineries, and international merchants, also known as brokers, and the buyer. For searchers, we usually consider them to be people who extract gold artisanally. We see small legal miners, and we also have people who extract gold illegally. The risk factors that belong to the searchers is that we need to understand who is behind them and who is paying their fees to search for that gold. Are they individuals or small groups of individuals that are seeking for that gold, or is there a facade where there are organizations that loosely hire these searches, but they're just creating a facade? So we have to consider these risk factors as such. Under local merchants, one has cooperatives, legal merchants, but we also have criminal organizations. And given the informality of this industry, the risk factors become and lead to the incursion of criminal gangs and illegal trade. Under small refineries, we have illegal home refineries, illegal small refineries, and legal refineries alike. The risk factors will lead to the incursion of criminal gangs and illegal trade as well. Regional merchants include cooperatives, criminal organizations, and legal merchants. And the risk factors include the incursion of criminal gangs and illegal trade due to the informality of this industry. The big refineries are typically worldwide refineries that may have operations in countries where gold is extracted, or solely in regions where gold is purchased and shipped to their local facilities for refining. The risk factors here is the matter of trust as to who they are purchasing that gold from. But most important, if there is no documentation or no established processes to verify the identity of their sellers, they pose a high risk as to the original source of that gold. International merchants, also known as brokers, are worldwide gold merchants that purchase gold from local, regional, or large international refineries and act as wholesalers, supplying gold to their customer base. The risk factors include that matter of trust as to who they are buying the gold from, and if they're not documenting or not establishing processes to verify their identities and the source of that gold, will represent a high risk for them and for those conducting due diligence as well. The buyer usually represents investors, jewelers, and industries such as technological or manufacturer industries that use bits and pieces of gold to build technology or manufactured goods, manufacturers and others as well. The risk factors include that you may be dealing with, or they may be dealing with, frontmen, front companies, and potentially dealing with fictitious imports and exports. What do we refer by that? There are potential scenarios where there are jurisdictions that do not have gold as part of their natural resources. But in their statistics as a country, it shows that they do have high percentages of gold exports, when in reality, they do not produce any gold. So there are scenarios where there may be bringing in or smuggling gold from other countries and reporting them as if it were their own. As part of the key elements and the analysis in your due diligence, it is important to consider the mine location. So the risks will vary depending on the geographic risk of the mine, not only the geographic risk, but also the economic and political and security factors that surround that mine. It is important to obtain the exact coordinates of the location of the mine, and is the land owned by the company? Are there photographs of the mine and or the terrain? And is there a mining code in the country? And make sure that you're verifying and obtaining every single detail as such. Sampling is important, and this usually involves examiners. So under these parameters and in this industry, there is a protocol of obtaining samples that are obtained from that specific mine. So usually there are standards of obtaining 100 samples, more or less, depending. There are indicators of the presence of half an ounce of gold, for example, or more per ton. And there are minerals, for example, that are rarely found together that are usually reported and indicate whether there is presence of gold indeed or not. And again, we are verifying these reports to make sure that if there is a gold mine, that the geological and engineering proof are available to make sure that we are dealing with a gold mine indeed. Are the examiners who are providing us with this information registered? And is there a national examiners registry? That needs to be confirmed as well. Further, in your due diligence, it is important to obtain reports. We discussed the mining plan or working plan that included the external excavation or exploration and exploitation, but also the internal or underground. So it is important to have a mining plan that includes filing numbers, an environmental impact study that includes filing numbers, topology reports and geological reports that must be signed, and obtaining as well directors' resumes, where one can also access them through internet searches. The experience is a must when we are looking at the workforce within the life cycle of a mining development project. Reference verification is important, and the filing of documents is a must, especially if there's a mining code. There should be indications as to that reference verifications when dealing with different types of employees in a mine. The organizational structure and chart will provide us with a hierarchy of that particular project, and obtaining the ownership will be crucial to understand if there are individuals, entities, investment funds, trusts that have a percentage participation in that ownership. Keep an eye on any potential politically exposed persons as part of your due diligence. The financial conditions are also crucial in your enhanced due diligence, including the company's operational time frame. What is their experience? Is this something that they typically do in the past 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, or the most recent 5 years or 2 years? One must obtain the audited financials, whether you've obtained the last 3 years, 2 years or less, or there are no audits or they are incomplete, and this should be a red flag. Obtain the source of funds and make sure that there is indication of the fund's usage in those audited financials. It is also fundamental to obtain the company's country of incorporation. Is it state-owned? Is it private? Or is it foreign? Obtain the owner's nationalities. Make sure that there are no shell companies involved as part of the country's incorporation structure, that one can actually verify any of this information online, and what geographies are we dealing with, especially with the incorporation documents. The bank accounts are also crucial because one would want to confirm if this mining development project has the support of local banks that are funding them, or are there foreign banks that are injecting capital, and where are these coming from to establish that level of risk? As part of your enhanced due diligence, you want to consider the criminal background, not only in screening the company, the directors, the boards of directors, the investors and the owners, but also make sure that you're screening for OFAC sanctions and denied persons lists for both domestic and international individuals and entities. Costs and obligations. To make sure that you are looking at a healthy infrastructure, you want to look at that staff turnover. But also you want to make sure that that mining development project is compliant with that jurisdiction's tax payments requirements, royalties payments, the payroll, insurance payments, and environmental licenses as well, among many others. When we're looking at the mining industry, we're not looking only at potential clients that are actually mines. As someone who's conducting due diligence and works with clients in the mining industry, you may have to further analyze the types of clients that you may be dealing with. That includes different types of companies that deal with gold, intermediaries, miners as such, mining products marketers, gold traders, and investors alike. And as part of your data analysis, this is key, because once you're working with clients in the gold mining industry, there will be indicators such as gold prices increasing. Should that be the case, this is where we have to gather a universe of analytics to determine who will they be selling to when gold prices increase, who are they selling to, where are they selling to, are they selling to trusts, are they selling to individuals? Are they selling to brokers? Are they selling to other clients? What industries do they pertain to? Whether it's technology firms, whether it's to brokerage companies or jewelers. And you want to look at the yearly sales. Why? Because when those yearly sales start to increase, you want to start finding out where are these increases going to and who's purchasing that gold. But additionally, if the gold prices also go up, you want to start realizing that you will have movements, in case you're a financial institution, in your accounts, and understand the dynamic of what is going on with your specific gold mining clients. Additionally, if there's sale of gold to different kinds of their own clients, you want to know what type of payment types they are receiving. Are they dealing with crypto, or they're dealing with wire transfers, or what other kinds of payments are involved? You want to understand who they're selling to and who the partners are of those companies, to again broaden and extend your due diligence as part of your data analysis. We love having you here. Please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to check out our other videos. With your support, we can continue to bring you more content. Until the next time, see you in our next video.